Oh, there it goes. I don't know what that was.
That was my phone saying it's live.
Okay, good. Oh, you get notifications.
Okay, and here's your mic's live, by the way.
Yeah, I know. All our mics are live.
Oh, look, we got a new stream.
So don't cuss. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Stream B of the Paranormal Portal live broadcast.
So don't cuss.
All right, you can turn down the feed
Oh,
now that
yeah.
we can hear it.
Sorry. I should probably put my headphones on.
Yeah, that way you can actually hear what's going on.
Wow, now I can join the conversation.
You can, and it's always here to be a part of, Don. You're always welcome here. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened exactly. I have a theory, but I don't think it makes sense now that I think about it. So what can I say? It is the portal, and we are finally live. So it appears anyway. Looks like the stream is healthy.
Yeah, we're looking good.
Okay, good. So really not sure what just happened, but it is the portal, and we have no control of what happens in the portal, clearly, because if we did, it would sure look a hell of a lot more professional than it does. But anyway, of course, I'm Brent Thomas. Thanks for being here. And of course, I'm joined with my friend and co-host, Mr. Don Longbeard.
Hello, let me wave to the camera elegantly. Wrist, elbow, wrist, elbow, wrist.
Okay.
All right,
So we're all the greetings are done, and here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We'll try to make it a whole stream. I'm not sure what's going on, but
ghostly visitors.
it's always that way, and yeah, exactly. But it keeps me young, or it's aging me prematurely. One of the two. I'm not sure which it is really. I feel like it's the aging me prematurely, to be honest with you. But I'm trying to be optimistic, so we'll just say that it's an adventure, and you are a part of our adventure as well. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal live stream. This is we do this every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time. We also do the live radio shows on Friday and Saturday nights if you're not familiar with the show. And you can certainly check us out on tfrlive.com. And we are also on iHeart and vid.me as well, broadcasting simultaneously in all three platforms, as it were. But it's all on the TFR Live channel or Truth Frequency Radio Network channel.
I think you meant iHeart.
No, I'm saying on iHeart, it's the Truth Frequency Radio channel.
You said VidME.
Oh, did I say VidME? I meant tune in. Sorry.
There you go, that one.
Yeah, I was just checking VidME. And ladies and gentlemen, we have the YouTube page, and we used to have a page on a site called vid.me. And essentially it was just a secondary platform for video streaming and to put up videos and such. And what happened was VidME folded, and I just went there just moments before the show to look and see what it looked like, and it was a sad screen saying that they have shut down, and it's done. So there is no more VidME channel, but we are on iHeart, we are on TuneIn, we are on TFR Live, and you can find us on any three of those, and you can find us on YouTube, of course, on Wednesday nights at this time, because we need your love. It was just too long between the radio shows. We do the show Friday and Saturday, and then we're off until the next Friday, Saturday. And so
it was getting lonely.
It was, wasn't it? It's just, I'm so glad we get these Wednesday nights to get the love again. And are people finding the new stream, Don?
Yeah, we've got several of our folks back. As a matter of fact, Don. Oh, there's Ken again. Okay, yeah, I think we're almost back to everybody we had. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, but it's definitely a pain in the tail trying to do these newfangled things with the show, but we are always going to push the envelope to bring you the best experience we know how, which many times doesn't amount to near as much as it should, but it's in the thought. It's like a tie for Christmas. You're really not excited about it, but you gotta be appreciating the thought.
You have to put on that smile and just bear it.
Ooh, I love that
That's
tie.
such a great tie. Thank you.
I was looking for a tie just like this.
And I'll wear it to work every day, even though it lights up and plays Christmas carols.
Yeah. Well, God, could you imagine?
Yes, I've had it happen. It's like, really, and by my own employees. They
Wow.
really did expect me to wear it. I'm like, you've got to be joking me.
You did wear it, didn't you?
No,
You never did?
no,
Oh, dude, you
I
should have
didn't
worn
like them
that.
that much.
You should have worn it out on them. You should have just
Every time they got around me,
yeah,
push the button.
just push the button
Jingle bells, jingle bells.
and just look like you're happier than hell.
I'm
That's-
so glad you got me this tie.
Oh my god, I love this tie. I can't
You
get
deserve
enough.
every second of it.
Make sure you sit really close so they got the speaker right next to their ear. Say, let's look at that report. No, 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 no.
And as you can see in the third quarter,
Mm-hmm.
and then in the fourth quarter, what happened? Christmas.
And Saint Nick came down the chimney.
Oh,
So I hope
wow.
you guys had a marvelous Christmas or whatever it is you celebrate. We had a good one here.
Yeah, we sure did.
Don actually wasn't at my Christmas, and I wasn't actually at Don's because I wasn't invited,
But we still did.
but we did. We all had good Christmases anyway. So it was just a nice day. It was real low key, nothing happening here in the Portal household, but it was good. Just a nice day of closeness and togetherness, and just a lot of Netflix. I think I burned up a lot of Netflix. Actually, you know what I did? I slept till noon on Christmas
Oh,
Day.
God, that must have been nice.
It was just amazing.
Oh,
It was
wow.
absolutely phenomenal. I couldn't believe it. I woke up at like 6:30. I went, no, I'm still tired. And then I woke up at like 8, like to turn over. And then the next thing I know, it was noon.
It was like, oh, my goodness.
It was amazing. So, not that you tuned in to hear how I slept, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm just glad to help fill in the blanks in case you were interested at all in my sleeping habits, which I am personally. So I just assume everybody's like me. Are you there, Don? Don, hello? Is this thing
Yes,
on?
I'm right here.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. All right. Felt like I was alone there.
What? What? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I know.
My Heldeman's blocking my ear.
You must have been talking to my wife again.
Oh, God.
I'm just kidding.
Bum,
Just,
bum, bum.
just joking. She loves me bunches. If she knows what's good for her. No. That was way funny in my head. I'm surprised it didn't.
Yeah, well, the filters don't always work.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Paranormal Portal, our portal, or our forum for all things paranormal, rather. And tonight we are, of course, going to discuss paranormal things. And the last show we did, and I have to say as well on this forum, if you didn't catch the live shows on Friday and Saturday on TFR or iHeart or TuneIn, wherever, you missed a couple of great shows. And Don, of course, was with me Saturday, and that was a lot of fun. And we discussed angelic visitations, which was really cool. But on Friday night, I had a real special guest on, Mr. Christopher Everard of Enigma TV, and he's also a fellow TFR host on Sundays. His show is on noon to 2 Pacific time. But he was on the show, and my God, I can't remember another time where I've done my own show, and all I could do was sit back and go, wow, oh my God, wow. The man is such a font of information, and he's so well researched, and it's like all I could do was just sit back, and I felt like I was just staring at my screen, just going, wow. The things he was saying. So if you get a chance, ladies and gentlemen, stop over to TFR Live, click on demand, and buy show. Check out the Paranormal Portal from last Friday, because this man, I mean, he's studied paranormal things. He's studied ancient civilizations. He's studied the Illuminati. He's studied conspiracies. He's just an amazingly interesting person, and it was just a real pleasure to have him on the show. And actually, I'm going to be on his show on Sunday as well. So
that's going to be. I'm going to have to remember to.
yeah,
tune in.
if you can, and all of you out there, I hope you guys will tune in and listen, because he's gonna just do kind of a paranormal launch into the new year, and of course he's over across the pond, so noon to 2 his my time is of course right at the change of the year, so it'll be a wonderful show, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity. And there's some things in the works with combining, doing some cross promotion with the Enigma channel on this channel. So stay tuned for that, ladies and gentlemen, and there'll be more information coming up regarding that in the near future, probably a couple of weeks. But anyway, I'm really looking forward to that venture as well. And thank you again to Mr. Christopher Everard for being on my show, for having me on your show, this will be the second time I've been on his show, and of course for everything else. It was just a fun, phenomenal experience. Mm-hmm. So here we are. This is our time to talk about what's going on now. So how you doing, Don? I've been hogging the mic. What's going on?
Oh, no, as you said, Christmas is great. We had a quiet Christmas as well. Mm-hmm. It was just nice. Made that prime rib. It came out really nicely, just so everybody knows, because I know everybody was wondering. I didn't smoke it like I planned to. I was going to smoke it, but
I think that's legal.
I think it's still legal to smoke your prime ribs.
Don's hitting the pipe. No. Oh, not that kind of smoking.
No,
sorry.
Smoke pipe, not the smoking pipe. Gracious. But it was good. It was quiet. Now we're looking at possibly up to 3 feet of snow in the next couple days. So,
oh dear God,
we'll just keep those wrists supple.
Supple,
right?
Yes. Did you say subtle?
Right, Brent. Come on, right? Yeah.
This is about as supple as my wrist is going to get. I got it all wrapped. I don't know what happened, but just something's been clicking in there and it's been feeling like hell. So I'm just wrapping it as kind of a good practice and to keep it braced. And it's starting to feel better though. So whatever was going on, I think is on the mend. But what do you do? No wrist jokes, ladies and gentlemen. I know how you guys think out there. That's not nice. Whoever thought that, I'm on to you. All right. Somebody out there was thinking it. They were.
Yeah, I think Marshall was asking about that. What'd you do to your wrist?
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure. It's just, I don't know. It was like, I couldn't even have lifted a Q-tip with this thing for a couple of days. There was like, oh, God, what the hell's going on?
No, it was the Doc. Doc's in house.
Doc's in the house. Hey, Doc, how you doing? Did you already do the roll call of who's here?
No, but
why don't you? That'd be nice to welcome them to the show.
Well, the people I see. Let's see. I see.
Yeah, if you're out there and you want to, get a shout out, just say hello in the chat.
Pop into the YouTube chat room. Yeah, absolutely. So I see Sarah and Marshall and Dawn. Let's see, Charlie the rookie prepper here, present. Let's see here. Doc Kayak, as I said. Ken, of course, our friend Ken from way over to down south.
Down under.
And I think that's pretty much it for now. But it sounds like some people are going to be tuning into the Enigma channel.
Good. I hope so. I hope you guys check it out and let them know that you heard about it here.
Yes.
Just show the love.
Show love. We need some love up in here, y'all. Anyhow,
so that's what's going on in the chat, and again, if you want to get a shout out or you want us to know you're here, just let us know in the chat that you are here.
Oh, there's Molly. Okay,
Molly's here. About time, Molly.
Yeah, gosh.
Yeah, 10 demerits. It's late. No,
bringing the coffee.
No Pixie though, huh?
No Pixie. I don't know if Pixie can join. Oh yes, she can. Yeah, it's Facebook. She can't join us at.
Oh yeah. No, she's been in here before. But thank you guys, all of you that are paying attention to us. It means the world. I love it when anybody pays attention to me. So the fact that you guys do it willingly is amazing.
All right.
Usually I have to pay for this kind of attention.
Whoa.
No, I'm just kidding. No. I just meant like paying friends. I didn't mean like getting all creepy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving on while I still have some integrity. Let's see what we got here. I got a list pulled up here, and this is 41 personal ghost stories. And creepy strangers' tales that might actually scare you to death. So if you die during the course of this broadcast, I am sorry, but you've been warned. You've been warned.
Will not be held accountable for any
this is what
you may take.
I need a lawyer to do the small, quick speech. So it's what it says. I'm just reading what it says, but this is from thoughtcatalog.com. So the first story I'm going to read to you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is this number has been disconnected. A few years ago, my brother would get a call on his cell phone around 2 to 3 a.m. every night. He would answer it, and it was this hellish-sounding noise, like static mixed with screams. He changed his cell number after a month of this, and it stopped. Then, after a week or so, it began again. The exact same noise, exact same time. Finally, one day he decided to back dial the call, and it was an old man that had no clue what he was talking about. Still, the calls persisted. If he didn't answer, it would call a few more times. No messages were left. Sounds like bill collectors. He decided to say screw it, ended his contract with the phone company, switched to a new one, and then got another new phone number. You guessed it, the screaming static calls continued after a short delay. By this time, he was terrified every night. Unsure why this was happening, he back dialed the number again and got a different person. Around this time, he lost his job and his phone.
Wow.
The calls stopped, of course. His phone was disconnected now. So one day, my mom asked me to listen to this weird message she got on our home phone. It was the static screaming. We showed my brother, and he was freaking out. He backed out the number again, and it said the number was disconnected this time. Never heard from it again after that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's all kinds of weird.
Now that gives a new meaning to they got your number. They all got it, apparently.
Yeah, apparently it was written on the bathroom stall in hell or something.
For a good time, call this guy.
Yeah. Oh, man. So this one's called There's a Man Sleeping There. This happened to a friend of mine. She told me about it a year or so ago. We'll call her Minji. That's a fine made-up name.
Right.
Minji, Minji. Minji is in her late 20s and works as an English tutor in South Korea. One evening, a few years ago, she was tutoring a high school boy. They were up studying pretty late, and the buses stopped running. Being a long time from his house, the boy asked if he could crash on her floor overnight and get the first bus the next morning. This one sounds familiar. Anyway, I'll keep reading. Minji was very reluctant because inviting a teenage male student to stay the night didn't sound like a great idea. Does this not sound familiar, Don? It does to me. I might have read this one, but again, what do I do? But he was begging her, and eventually she relented. And I'm going to just leap ahead here. The story I remember, it had to do with the kid sleeping on her floor and seeing someone sleeping under the bed. If this is the same story, that's what we're going to find out in just a second. Minji was very reluctant because inviting a teenage male student to stay the night didn't sound like a great idea, but he was begging her, and eventually she relented. They went back to her one-room apartment, and she got into bed while they laid a blanket out on the floor, and they both fell asleep. A few hours later, at maybe 2 a.m., the boy wakes Minji up. "I'm really hungry," he says. "Let's go get some food." Minji opens her eyes and looks up at him in disbelief. "Food? Now? It's 2 a.m. Go back to bed." But the student insists, "No, I'm hungry. Let's go get something to eat now." She tells him that there's some ramen in the kitchen and he can fix himself some. This doesn't satisfy him. He doesn't want ramen. There's a 24-hour place just down the road. Let's go there. Eventually, after several minutes of persuasion, the boy gets Minji to come with him to the restaurant. They leave the apartment and head out. As soon as they're out on the street, the boy turns to Minji and says, "I'm not hungry. I just woke up in the middle of the night and looked under your bed. There's a man sleeping there." See, told you. Yep. They call the police and discover that a homeless man had been living in Minji's apartment.
Oh, my God.
Sleeping under her bed for over 2 months. The boy only saw him because he was lying on her floor, so had a clear view under the bed. The police arrested the man, and thankfully there were no other issues, but that's by far the creepiest thing that's ever happened to anyone I know. Yeah, I don't know.
Pretty creepy, but
I'm hoping I didn't read all these before, but I'll just keep going, and if another one sounds familiar, I'll be like, this list has been done. This one calls Sis Gets Her Own Phone. When my sister was young, my parents got her a personal phone, a landline, so that she could feel special. Yes, she was extra spoiled. It was a prepaid landline, though, so basically no one could call in or out if she ran out of credit, much like a mobile phone. Anyway, every night at 3 a.m., her phone would ring. She said there was a man on the other line, but then she would get really scared and come running to my room. It escalated to the point that I asked her to please disconnect her phone before going to sleep, because it was becoming extremely annoying to get woken up every single night by this person that called her. To be honest, since she was about 10, I thought it was just these stupid, scary movies she liked to watch. Eventually, she got rid of the phone. In any case, I recall this stopping. A few years ago, we were talking about it, and she confessed that her phone continued to ring even after she disconnected it, which is why she said she didn't want it anymore. She has no recollection of what the person on the other end was saying, or maybe she's just completely blocked it out.
Huh.
That's creepy.
That is creepy.
Yep. Very creepy.
I wouldn't like those ones.
No, that's not the kind of conversation you need at, 2 a.m. every night. And then you unplug it and it still rings. That's just, that's really twisted. So I've not read that one before that I remember, so I think we're okay. It's just that one story was a repeat from somewhere else, which, as you know, if you listen to the show, we run into every once in a while because the paranormal community is apparently likes to borrow from each other quite a bit. So that's a nice way of saying they get plagiarized quite a bit. Checking the meters, the next one. My former teacher was home alone when she was a child. When she was a child some at some point in the 70s, probably. A man knocked on her door and she opened the main door but kept her screen door locked. He said he was from the gas company and wanted to talk to her parents. She told him they weren't home, and he, without missing a beat, tried to start forcing his way into the home. When he found the screen door to be locked, he pulled out a box cutter and started to cut through the screen.
Oh my.
My teacher ran to hide in the clothes hamper in her parents' closet. She said she sat there for about 10 minutes before the police arrived. Thank God a neighbor saw everything and called the police, or she probably would be dead. Also, to put the cherry on the freaking creepy Sunday, they found the intruder hiding in the attic. Ooh, that's rotten. She told us this as a cautionary tale to lock all doors and windows when home alone. Of course, naturally, I would go home from school to be alone for hours. Doom. It says doom. Doom.
Doom on you.
Doom on you. Didn't sleep a wink that night.
I wonder why.
Sounds like you, Don.
Yeah, well, that's just because I don't sleep.
You'll sleep plenty when you're dead.
Thanks.
That's what I hear.
Hopefully that'll be a long time from now. But
I'm not like encouraging it. I'm not. I'm just saying. Look, there's light at the end of the tunnel there, buddy.
Oh yeah, at the very end.
That's what I've heard.
Carrie Ann, don't go towards the light. Oh my God.
Didn't sleep a wink that night. It says. My friend and I were going to a party a few hours out of town, so we decided to stay at her family's, holiday house about an hour south of the party, now 3 hours from home. We arrived around mid-afternoon, and it was winter in a holiday town, so the area was completely empty. No other cars on the street. When we left for the party, I spent a moment deciding whether to pull the gate all the way closed. I'd had some trouble opening it earlier when we arrived, and if we were getting home late at night, I didn't want to be stuck outside. I decided to shut it for security. Party was great. We got back to the house around 12:30 and the gate was open. I immediately felt on edge because not only did I know I'd locked it, but I knew it couldn't just blow open from the wind, and I didn't want to make a big deal, so I was vague when my friend asked if I'd shut it. We went inside and decided to make a snack. I was wandering through the house when suddenly my friend raced from the kitchen into the hallway and virtually tackled me to the ground. She was convinced she heard someone walking around outside. We tried to calm ourselves down, but we had no cell reception and there was no one else around. Over the next half hour or so, we sat in the hallway paralyzed with fear. We heard footsteps outside and the back door being jimmied. We decided we had to leave, so we gathered everything up and we got ready to make a break for the car. Just when we were at the front door ready to leave, there was a huge bang in the backyard, and suddenly what sounded like hundreds of birds started screaming. We legged it to the car and ended up starting it with all of our stuff in our laps. We hadn't bothered to even put it in the back seat. So we reversed out of the driveway. We saw somebody running up the side of the house towards us. Sped the entire way home, and even once we got back to my place, didn't sleep at all that night.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
That was from the person that submitted that. Was called Finding Alaska.
Huh.
I don't know.
You can find a lot of things in Alaska, I'm sure.
Apparently. Yeah, that's weird. So you heard it. Wow, I got an echo. You hear that?
Whoa, I do now.
What the hell?
It's not me.
See, that's just the portal. That's just how screwed up things are here. How in the hell did that happen?
I don't know. It won't be me.
I don't know if it's through the live broadcast. Can you take a second and just listen with the speakers up to hear what you hear?
Yeah, it's echoing through there, too.
It's echoing online?
Yeah.
What the hell is going on? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Paranormal Portal. This is the only haunted show,
Actively haunted show.
the actively haunted paranormal show in the world. And you are here witnessing this firsthand. I don't have an explanation for this. This defies any kind of knowledge or logic that I might be able to find. I can tell you it's annoying as hell to hear your own voice bounce back to you and try to keep a sentence coherent. But, oh my God.
Well, I have noticed you don't have any music playing tonight either.
I don't usually on the streams. Just because it's more for my computer to do. And
Just gonna muff it all up.
that is frustrating as hell, though, dude. I mean, the effects channel is completely bypassed. There's nothing going in. Nothing should be creating an echo. This is just freaking bizarre. Wow. I am just so lost. Don, I'm lost. Help me. Is this OBS have like special effects as well?
No. It
No.
shouldn't.
Okay.
Scroll down in your mixer though. See if there's a
In here?
yeah.
Or here?
Yeah, scroll there. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's,
Just
why don't you mute
wait.
those other
Now do you hear it? The echo is just a slap back now. It changed the echo type in real time.
Oh, it did.
Now it's just a quick echo. That is so strange. Oh my God. So nothing got changed, nothing got switched, nothing got altered. But now it's just like a slapback echo or a ambient kind of echo. This is just weird, dude.
I wonder, why don't you go ahead and mute those other captures though?
There's only one that's showing
But just mute them all.
well,
except
no,
for that
there is
one.
nothing else.
Well, I'm just
This is video capture. This one is
those are all. Yeah, those are all audio captures.
right, but it's still all right. Still, wait.
One more.
One more. Hey, test. Is that better?
It sounds better to me. And get that one too, the one right above.
This is a video capture. This is not. This is what we're. What
no,
we're
the
seeing.
audio input capture is the one we're using.
Right, but this is the. You okay, but now it's better.
Okay.
That's weird. So it is OBS Studio. Test.
Yeah, sounds better.
I unmuted it and it's still better. That is so weird, dude. No, it's not OBS Studio. Oh my God! Wow.
Remember, you're live.
I know. But this is. It's like doing paranormal investigating while we broadcast. It's like we got to try to debunk everything and look for cause, look through possibilities, and now it's gone. I mean, the echo's gone. It's normal. Ladies and gentlemen, this is truly the most bizarre show I've ever even heard of, and it's my show. So we got that going for us. But the echo is gone. It's corrected for now. I just know there's this whole group of people that surround us during the show, and they're just laughing their asses off. Like, what's this?
Doc's like, who's Brent talking to?
I'm talking to you guys out there. I'm not talking to myself yet. That's coming pretty quick. I've still got a few firing neurons working here, but they're fading fast, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. That is just bizarre. Okay. I don't, it's just one of those things that it just gets me dumbfounded. It's like, what in the hell is going on?
Don says, bring a medium in and see if you have someone from the other side helping us out. But the problem is we already know we do.
Yeah, no, it's
pretty much a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, This house tends to be reasonably active. I mean, nothing over the top. Just I know there's a presence here, and it's not my house. I rent. I don't own the house, but it's been okay. I mean, I've not really had anything really negative happen, but I mean, just these weird problems. It's like, really, but again, I don't know. Anyway, Don, do you want to read something?
Sure, I suppose I could come up with a story or two
yeah,
here.
take it for a second while I process.
Yeah, sure, go ahead, process. So this is our frequent ghostly visitor. Says, I want to share my experience with various ghosts that visited my house. In my first post, everything... Okay, you know what? Nope, not going to read this one because I've already read it. Let me go to this one.
Oh, okay, very good.
All right, so, Creepy Night, our visitor. We live in Cairns, Australia, and this happened December 8th of 2016. So I was only just a year old. This morning I woke up and told my partner that I had had the weirdest dream last night and that there was something in the house, but I never went into detail with him. I call it a dream because I wasn't panicking or terrified. It just wasn't pleasant. I never had a dream like this. I could escape this dream. I couldn't escape this dream. I knew I was dreaming. It was strange, like I was hyper aware of this fact, but I couldn't escape it. I couldn't wake up, couldn't even change the dream. Normally, I sort of bounce between dreams, if that makes any sense. In addition, while knowing that there was something unfriendly in the house, the dream was strangely empty, as if I was in some computer-generated version of our house. The basics were there, but no details. My partner got very quiet and said, "Funny you should say that, because I got awoken by my daughter trying to climb into bed. When I sat up to take her back to her bed and realized it wasn't her. She was too tall and had long hair, but it was a little girl holding something. I told you to turn the light on, and then she was gone. It was not my first experience with the spirit. I've had good, heartbreaking, and scary experiences, and I normally go with my gut feeling in these situations. But whenever I think about it, I feel a sinking feeling as if I'm missing something and that it is important. Overall, it's not a good feeling. My normal reaction to encountering another being is to firstly acknowledge their presence and then let them know that while I'm aware they are there, I will act if they are not, and I will get on with things as normal. I just don't know if that's right, if that's the right path this time, and was looking for some advice." So that's interesting. The partner had a dream about his child, or the partner had a dream about their child, and it wasn't her. So
that is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go. That's what you get for having ghostly visitors.
I could write a book. I could write a book on that topic. On that topic alone, sir.
Jeez. Well, it sounds like Ken's doing another comic book again.
Oh, good. Ken, I've heard about those drawings. I'm still waiting to see.
Yeah, definitely that.
Don and I are anxiously awaiting our cartoon rendering. So.
Okay, and shout out to Estrella. Hi, Estrella.
Hey, Estrella. Woo. I'm so glad you're here. That's awesome. Thanks for joining us.
So he says, new story for the paranormal comic, The Possession of Don's Beard.
We have no idea what's in there, ladies and gentlemen. It's like the Bermuda Triangle. It's the Beard-Muda Triangle.
Oh, no.
Thank you. Thank you very
I knew
much.
that was coming. I knew something exactly like that was coming.
That pun goes out to my son who loves puns.
Oh.
So
he's my Punisher, huh?
He is the Punisher. That's funny.
All right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm all done being verklempt up in here. So
talk amongst yourselves.
Oy vey. So I'm just gonna read you another story. Sorry, just I made homemade chicken Alfredo.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, it was, huh?
It was.
Yeah.
It was just so good.
That's my son.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. So he's checking us out now. Sorry.
Oh, okay. We're good. Never mind. Keep going.
Keep going. Here we go. The terrifying power of suggestion. is the next story, ladies and gentlemen. So let's see what the power of suggestion is. Breathe. I gotta breathe before I try to finish a sentence sometimes. A few weeks ago, my girlfriend and I were sleeping together when I woke up to her saying, "What are you doing?"
Well.
The end. No, I'm just kidding. That's so funny. She sometimes talks in her sleep, but this sounded so coherent and urgent that it jolted me awake, and I asked what she was talking about. She then woke up and said she thought she saw someone at the end of the bed. Thinking it was just a dream or semi-awake hallucination, we thought nothing of it, and went back to sleep. About an hour later, I woke up and saw someone standing on the bed, with the sheets wrapped up and twisted to their neck. I didn't know what to do, but the first thing that came out of my mouth is, "What are you doing?" My girlfriend then woke up, and I had been dreaming the exact same thing that she did, and said the exact same thing. I know it's all the power of suggestion or whatever, but screw that. There you have it. Oh, music at Myrtle's Plantation. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar with Myrtle's Plantation, it's supposedly one of the most haunted sites in the South. And it used to be a plantation with slaves and all of that. And apparently a lot of tragedy happened there. Now, there's a lot of things coming out of Myrtle's Plantation that's, I can believe a lot of it, but there's some things where, people that tour it will take pictures of this old mirror. And it's supposed to be this, look at the apparitions in the mirror. And what it is it's an old mirror where the backing starts pulling off, and you get all these light artifacts in there. So I'm not really too keen on any of those, but there are a lot of other stories coming out of Myrtle's Plantation that I think are legit, but I don't much buy the whole haunted mirror thing. At least not for most of the pics that I've seen. It's like, I belong to so many groups on Facebook, and they're paranormal groups, and I can't tell you how many times people, will post pictures of their living room or their clothes hamper, and there'll be like a dust particle. Look at the orbs. Yeah, it's like, yeah, they want to hang around your dirty underwear. That's all they got going on.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to use a little critical thinking.
Yeah, that's like the other day we were watching a little video, and it said, look at all these thousands of orbs, and it was just dust. It was light reflecting off dust.
Yeah, I mean, you have to understand that most cameras will, even infrared cameras like security cameras, especially, they will pick up, any kind of ambient light. And, a lot of them emit their own infrared. And so when things are really close to the lens, which could be a particle of dust or some other particulate, spider webs done, and I must have done about 5 videos on just seeing spider webs in front of security cameras, and people like, oh, look at that apparition. Well, these spiders build webs everywhere, and they come down, and they kind of just hover there, and they seem just kind of wispy, and they do seem very nebulous and weird, but once you realize what it is, it's like, oh, that's the one. What was it? Pocatello High School was the big one.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh my God, the power's flashing, and it's like, no, we looked at that and could see very clearly there was an origin point, and there was another point on the bottom, and the whole thing moved in a line and then moved back. And I think what was going on was the power was cycling for some reason. And when the power was cycling, so was the venting system, like the HVAC system. So it was turning on and off, and so the power would, come on, and this little wisp would drift out and then go back, and I don't know.
Yeah, it was definitely on kind of a pendulum type.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a fixed point and a moving point.
There was a fixed point of origin that doesn't ever change. And a lot of those nanny cams, look at the loved one checking on our baby.
Yeah.
It's a spider web. It's just a ball of spider web, and it just waves around. But you'll have to watch the evidence review videos that are on YouTube here, and you can see what we're talking about. But there's a lot of things with photography and with digital imaging that you really need to keep in mind before you use it as a conclusive evidence of the paranormal. And, weigh it out. In fact, I would, I would advise to be very, very doubtful of most photographic evidence.
Right, yeah.
I don't think I've seen maybe a handful of things on video
right.
in all of the thousands of videos I've seen that I think are absolutely compelling, and the rest of them are just
garbage.
They seem to be, yeah. And that and the availability of really high-end digital editing tools is making it really tough to make any kind of solid claims. So this one's called Music at Myrtle's Plantation. When I was in 8th grade, I went on a school trip that was called the Louisiana Tour. And it was mostly going around to significant sites in South Louisiana. One of the places we went to was Myrtle's Plantation, which is considered to be one of the most haunted places in the country. Thank you very much. I think I said that, but, Sorry. There are all kinds of stories about the place, but at one point we were standing in a room as part of a larger group, and the tour guide was talking about something. I don't remember what. As I'm standing there, I start to hear what sounds like someone hitting a piano key. After I heard it a couple times, I started to look around for the source of the noise. I didn't see a piano, but I kept hearing it. So I asked my friends who were standing near me if they heard it, and they said no. When I heard it again, I said, there it is again, and that they must have heard it. They thought I was crazy. So I went back to looking around the room. Everybody's eyes were on the tour guide except for one woman. She caught my eye and pointed at me, and then at her ear with a questioning look. I realized she was asking if I heard it too, and I nodded. At this point, the tour guide starts telling a story about a soldier who had died there, and that he played the piano with multiple guests had reported hearing him playing in the night. I honestly didn't know what to think. I guess I still don't. Well, I talked to the woman as we were leaving the room, and she had heard the exact same thing as me, but her husband and son had not heard it. Now, that sounds like clairaudience, the ability to hear sounds that, don't really exist in our normal plane. So it's one of the clairvoyants, clairaudience, ascient, being able to see, hear the spirit realm. And so I wonder if this person ever has heard voices and not, been able to find the source. Because they may very well be, clairaudient and can hear spiritually. This one's called A Man Watching Through the Window.
Uh-oh.
Don goes right.
It's not me.
Right, it's not you?
It's
Okay.
not me.
All right.
Creeper mode.
No, creeper mode engaged. When I was growing up, one of my best friends told me about a very creepy situation involving him, his younger brother, and a man at the window. When my friend was little and his little brother were younger, they shared a bedroom. They were some years apart, but his younger brother was born with a multitude of different health issues, including multiple sclerosis. And he's confined to a wheelchair and cannot care for himself. So to keep an eye on him overnight, when his parents couldn't, they shared a bedroom. This one sounds familiar too. One night my friend randomly woke up for no particular reason and happened to glance over at his younger brother, but noticed something very startling, a strange silhouette of a man wearing a top hat looking through the window behind his younger brother's crib. The first thing my friend did was jump up and turn the light on. Then he ran to his parents' room to tell them what he saw. When his parents came back into their room to investigate, his younger brother was having a seizure in his crib. A few of his family members say it was his younger brother's guardian angel standing at the window that night. My friend believes it was death. It's all still pretty unsettling to me. Huh. Yeah, I don't know, the whole top hat thing is very, very peculiar.
Yeah, it wouldn't be death.
I don't know if death
You
appears
sent a gent to get him.
like like the traditional reaper or not, but I don't know. I that's the funny thing. I don't know that there is a quote unquote death,
Right.
like there's not one. It's kind of like the ancients had to deify everything. They gave everything its own deity, and so I think that's the whole idea, is that there was a deity of death. Now, I believe there are spirits or spiritual presences that will help escort people to the other side, and that may be confused with that there's a spirit of death, but I just think that it's just a transition. It's just like there's not a spirit of falling asleep, but, I mean,
I know there's spirits to help you fall asleep.
that there are, sir.
Oh, not those ones.
I'm a social drinker. You'll have a drink and so shall I. Thank you very much. It's a line from World of Warcraft.
I've actually never heard that.
One of the dwarves. Wow.
Wow.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to rip off comedy wherever I can find it.
Oh, that was a good one, Brett.
I wish it was mine. It was, like I said, from World of Warcraft. It's one of the NPCs. The dwarves are drinkers. So.
Of course they are. Of course we are.
Of course you are, Mr. Longbeard. Something in the dresser is the next one.
Nice.
When I was younger, I had an imaginary friend who lived in this massive antique dresser. We'd chill out, and I vividly remember telling him stories, although I have absolutely no recollection of what they actually were. I remember one day talking to my parents about it. Dad traveled quite a bit, so he wasn't up to date with what I was into. when I started telling him about my dresser buddy, he wanted to know his name. It was something innocent like Peter or Patrick, but I can still see him going white in the face. I drew Peter/Patrick out for him, and the very next day my uncle took that dresser out and burned it. It wasn't until a few years later when I found out my dad's little brother, my uncle, also had the same friend with the same name who lived in the same antique dresser.
Oh, my.
After a few months of the typical imaginary friends crap, my uncle started having night terrors and couldn't sleep because of Peter/Patrick. It got so bad that they had to move him out of his room before he managed to get back to normal. Number 1, the dresser was old, dark wood, ugly thing. As far as we know, it belonged to my great-great-grandfather, who had always been into some weird stuff if family history is to be believed. Number 2, my dad never talked about what was actually in the dresser, and he was the only one who believed his brother when they were kids. Their parents really didn't care because they thought the kids were just being kids who honestly believed in spooky ghosts back then. Must have been a shock that 30 years later his own son started having the same friend. Number 3, my uncle's night terrors ended when they moved him to another room. The bedroom he was in with the dresser was converted into a little sitting room since it had some nice views. It remained relatively unlived in until Dad moved our family into that home, and that room became mine. Number 4, I haven't seen my uncle in 14 years now. Don't really speak to him since he is on the other end of the world. Afraid to bring up something like this up since I know he struggles with depression and alcoholism, so I would hate to add stuff to his plate. Okay. And number 5, to everyone asking what he looked like, I remember tiny old man, not like old man tiny, but kid-sized tiny. He had very large hands, long fingers, which in turn led to how I draw people even today. Hands always come out longer and larger than what they would normally be. Smelled of wood, mothballs, old cloths, and what I now know is mold. That sounds like they might have needed to burn that anyway.
Yeah.
Little black mold for you.
Oh, mothballs.
Yeah, mothballs, yeah.
It smells like mold in here. Why is that?
It's my new cologne.
Oh, you're echoing again.
My echo came back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Here on the Paranormal Portal, where special effects just kind of make themselves. I don't know what the hell is going on here, ladies and gentlemen.
They just make themselves.
They just kind of happen. It's our, I've always said, Don, I need a producer. Apparently I have one.
You have one, yes.
And he's a dick. I don't know what to say, but...
You're killing me. You're killing me over here.
You know what I'm saying, though? This is just freaking strange. Oh, this is the portal, ladies and gentlemen, where strange things occur on a minute basis. I don't even know if I can talk like this. Let me see what I can do. Oh, yeah, they're still muted, dude.
Oh, I don't know. Yep, they are.
Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll just talk quietly amongst ourselves until this effect decides to end. Thank you very little. Not you guys. I love you guys, but I don't know what the hell's going on. This is just strange. It's just strange. Like I said, this is the only paranormal show in the world that is actually haunted. I mean, honest to God, what else could you call it? This is just freaking strange. Don, what do you think?
I try not to. It gets me in trouble.
Back to you, Don.
Okay, hold on. Well, you always, every now and then you catch me when I'm doing something. I'm actually copying the chats for you again.
Oh, I appreciate it, even though I've never read any of them.
Well, that's because I keep forgetting to email to you.
It's one thing to keep a record, but it's another thing to make it actually usable.
Records are good for that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I would just like to read them within the next day or so.
Oh, okay. Well, you know.
Not 3 weeks later when I won't understand any of it. But
Well, I can certainly read a story if you'd like.
can you read in the echo? Is that okay?
Yeah, I can read past this. Yeah, because you just go like this. Now I only hear one. So this one is creepy events at my neighbor's house. This specific neighbor passed away during 2005-2006 at the age of 72. We had been neighbors for close on to 20 years at the time of her passing. She and her family lived directly across the road from me. I used to call her M, although that was not the name she was normally known by, simply my name for her. She had 5 sons, the 5th of which was adopted. It was necessary for me to give you some background regarding the relationship between M and I. We had a sort of love-hate relationship at one stage, mainly because she was extremely inquisitive and made it her life's ambition to know everything about everybody in the neighborhood. Being a reasonably private person, this irritated the hell out of me. We also had a huge argument one New Year's Day because she was lighting firecrackers to amuse her grandchildren, which affected my little staffy, Chloe, extremely badly. Honestly, I thought the dog was going to have a heart attack. By the way, these activities are banned in our area and elsewhere in SA, unless they're held under controlled conditions. SA. Okay. She didn't
South
speak.
Africa? Or?
Well, that's what I thought first, but don't know.
Okay.
She didn't speak to me for about a year, and then inexplicably decided that it was the best thing this side of the equator. So she obviously decided to start speaking a year later.
Oh.
So to proceed with the event in question, whenever M, her husband, and youngest son decided to take a holiday for a few days, I was the only one she trusted to take care of her place and her animals. Her older children no longer lived in the vicinity. She provided me with various keys and codes to the alarm, etc., plus all of the food for the animals, which included dogs, cats, and parrots. I never felt comfortable in the house, but was not prepared to be led in the paranormal direction. It was a lovely large home, but it didn't set well with me. A few months before M's death, I was again left in charge of the home and the animals. I had to go there twice a day, morning and evening, for the benefit of the pets. No problem. I lived across the road. The family left for a few days. I seem to remember that it was 4 days. The cat had kittens approximately a week old, and mommy and baby kittens decided that their place of comfort was in a hole underneath the new couches, one of the couches. Needless to say, I was in my element with these kittens. I'm a cat lover. Personally, I would have canceled my vacation trip under those circumstances, but to each their own. In fact, I went across the road more regularly to check whether mommy and the kittens were okay. I duly made my way across the road at approximately 6 a.m. because it says 0600 one morning, yes, and I was totally horrified. On entering the house, I saw the parrot, the floor scattered with feathers, and the bird was cowering in a cowering position on the floor of the cage. She was not a beautiful parrot at the best of times, tending to tweak her feathers every now and then, but this was truly something different. The feathers were scattered all over that small space. I couldn't induce her to come back onto her perch, even with a piece of apple, her favorite. The poor bird was in a seriously bad place. I then turned my attention to the kitchen. At the door to the kitchen entrance were M's sloffies. This is a South African description. I assume you would call them thongs or slip-slops. Oh, flip-flops. Okay. It actually says slip-slops or whatever. So talking about flip-flops. I assume you call them thongs or slip-slops, flip-flops. In any case, they were casual sandal footwear. In the corner of the kitchen, the dog food pellets in a large bag was overturned and spilled out into the area. Despite my fear, because it had certainly turned into fear by that stage, I checked the rest of the house. In the main bedroom, the cupboard doors were open. The second bathroom had the most horrific stench. After that, I was not prepared to enter the house on my own. In the morning, my husband had accompanied me, much to his chagrin, and my daughter had to accompany me in the evenings. No more extra visits to the baby kittens and their mommies. Just to end this, I don't want to become boring. Em phoned me regularly. I told her that what had happened, and of course she was in total disbelief. She said she probably left her flip-flops at the kitchen door, which what she was accustomed to doing. Believe me, they were not there when I started looking after the house and the animals. On the night before they proceeded home, I received a phone call from the security company because of the alarm at the home constantly going off, and agreed to meet them at the house. I didn't hear the alarm, don't know why. Nonetheless, once I saw security arriving, I quickly made my way across the road. I had to be there. I was the one with the keys. Besides the security guards, I found another neighbor, who I'll refer to him as Rambo, also on the premise with a shotgun. I have no idea what he was intending to threaten with all that bravado. No humans in sight, only cats and kittens inside and dogs outside. I realize that this is turning into a rather long account. About 2 years before all this happened, we had a rather horrific incident in the neighborhood. I won't go into any details, but there was a gang attempting to rob the house next door to M's house. To cut a long story short, they were arrested except for one who made his way into M's property, and after being warned by the police to stop, he was shot dead on the premises trying to climb over a wall. Could he have been the culprit of the strange events? I have no idea.
Wow, that's bizarre. But the sound got better.
Yeah, it stopped when I got about halfway through. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
Did you see that? Everything just flashed.
Oh, don't.
Everything. I mean, everything just went black for a second.
Oh, gracious.
Yeah.
Everything's just going funky. Won't you take me to fuck it out?
Oh my God, dude! I swear to Christ, I will mute you.
I will mute you.
It'll be a mutiny.
That's it.
That is just wow. I didn't like it when they sing it. No, actually, I did like that song.
Lips Incorporated, baby.
Yeah, that was actually pretty good.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Not necessarily your version, but the original.
You gotta be a soul crusher.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm hating, but I'm already being vexed by the unseen.
By the unseen. Definitely the herd, though.
I don't need to be vexed by my co-host. All right, so I'm going to read another story since I can focus now. And I don't know, I got a headache cooking too, so that's not helping any. When we take a break, I'm going to go ibuprofen the hell out of this. Because that's just, what time is it, by the way?
It
is.
It's
8:05.
Oh, so. Wow. Yeah, we've been on for right around, well, this stream.
Yeah, this version.
57 minutes, so we've been pretty good.
All right, so let me read this story, and then we'll take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen, and then we'll be back for another hour or so of this mayhem, and we'll see what's coming next, because I don't know. I don't know what's right around the corner, ladies and gentlemen, but you got us now. So this one's called Margaret Tries to Adopt. When my son was about 3, he had an imaginary friend in his room who he used to talk to all the time. He would tell us stories about things she would tell him, and we'd hear him chatting to her at bedtime. We thought it was pretty cute. We thought it was cute. After a few months, my son said he wasn't friends with her anymore. We figured it was over his phase of seeing, he was over his phase of seeing her, so we're surprised to hear him still talking to her at night. Then he started not wanting to go to bed and having really bad dreams. At some point, we ended up asking a lot of questions about her. We had assumed she was a little girl, but apparently she was 47.
Oh.
She lived in the wall and stopped being friends with her because she wanting him to call her mommy.
Oh.
Her name was something like Margaret. She wanted him to come and live in the wall with her. Jeez.
Wow.
Wow, is that creepy?
That's an abduction story in the making.
Yeah, no kidding. He had told her he didn't want to talk to her anymore, and she wouldn't go away. We eventually moved house, and he stopped talking about her. Funny thing is, when I was pregnant with him, living in the same house, I used to have dreams about a lady sitting at a dining table in our bedroom, except it was obviously a different era, and the room was not a bedroom at the time. The lady used to knit and make me listen to her giving me parenting advice while her 20-ish-year-old sons sat at the table quietly.
Huh.
Ooh.
That's not creepy.
Come live in the wall with me. I'm not sure there's enough room.
It's a portal in there.
Yeah.
There'll be plenty of room. Alibaba's hut.
What?
Alibaba's hut.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on in. It's bigger than you think.
Yeah, it's like the freaking TARDIS. Doctor Who joke. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Jim reaches out, but I'll get into Jim reaches out after the break, ladies and gentlemen, because I need to get rid of this screaming headache. And so we are going to take a break, and I'm going to leave you with the musical stylings of the Tribes, the song Tribes. So I hope you enjoy it. Let me just get it up here. No, God, Don.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, my God, you don't have to. I just...
I'm
know
just
what you
typing.
think.
I'm typing.
Yeah, right.
I'm typing. I'm talking to the people
I'm
in
muting
the
you
chat room.
and me now. We'll
He's
be
gonna
right back,
mute me,
ladies
not
and gentlemen. We'll be right back. Don't go away. This is not a reason to leave. This is just a break. We will be back, and we will be doing attendance. So don't go away. So we got that going for us, ladies and gentlemen. And the echo is back. And I'm back. However, Don is not yet back. But he will be. And the echo's gone. It's here, then it's gone. But that's the portal, ladies and gentlemen. And I can claim no control over any of it. I can claim no control. Mr. Longbeard, sir, thank you so much. Sorry, the song ended. So
You're talking without me. I see how you are. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the
I'm present.
present and accounted for. Now, conduct roll call.
Roll call. Oh wow. Actually, it does look like we lost someone. I know Ken. Ken went away.
Did he?
Yeah, he's got roadkill to deal with or something.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry to lose you, Ken.
Yeah, absolutely.
But love you bunches.
But Marshall's here. He says we sound great.
Thank you, Marshall. Love you bunches, brother. It's that kind of feedback that we need.
That's the positive stuff we like.
We need the positive stuff.
Yep.
No, that's cool. I don't know. I just got a thumping headache, but I'll be better. The ibuprofen. I might just be stroking out here. I don't know.
That was ibuprofen PM.
It was yeah. Oops. Yeah. Yeah. No. I have taken that before. I think it might have helped, but I don't know. I think all it did really was make me groggy the next day. I get that lethargy after that. So I don't know. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are continuing the portal into our second hour, as it were. So thank you for being here again and making it special. And please remember that Deb Davenport will be joining us on Saturday's Paranormal Portal. Yeah. And she will be doing free psychic readings to callers. So don't miss your opportunity to get a little peek into 2018.
Definitely a good time to ask.
Exactly. That's what I was like. She was like, well, you want me on this time or this time? And she was like, it was either this coming Saturday or like the 5th. And I was like, no, this Saturday, definitely. I think it would be really cool to have her on just before the new year. And she can help people take a look into what's coming up. I know she's been so accurate and so just dead on with her readings and stuff. It's really cool that she has such insights and such ability. So truly appreciate it. Truly appreciate that she's going to be on. So I hope you guys don't miss it. And who is this? Oh, Marlena Dietrich's 116th birthday.
Oh.
Yeah, I was looking at Google going, why the hell does it look weird? But it's Marlena Dietrich. Or Marlene Dietrich. I don't know how she...
Wow, she's old.
Well, I don't think she's probably still here, but
long gone. She is an old Hollywood star, singer.
Yeah. She was amazing though back in the day. I miss those. I've been listening to that on my wiretap all the time. I have an Amazon Echo Alexa, and I listen to the big band sounds. I love the big band music just from the 20s and 30s, and there's even some Rod Stewart songs where he did like a big band album or something where he sings all the classics.
All right, yeah.
And he actually did a good job. I was surprised because I really, if you want my body and you think I'm sexy to...
Sorry.
Yeah, please don't.
Don't start that crap again.
No. My ibuprofen hasn't quite kicked in yet, so give me 10 minutes and then we can talk. But, no, he did a good job. The songs he did were real well done, and his voice actually translates pretty well to it, which is surprising because I really have never really cared for Rod Stewart's voice. So, but that's just me.
I could probably sing about half his catalog.
Yeah. You're a Rod Stewart fan?
Yeah, I liked Rod Stewart.
Yeah, I just got kind of played out on it in the 70s. I was a young boy and was force-fed that by my older brother. So,
well, I was force-fed Eagles and Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin I can appreciate.
See, I didn't appreciate him until I got into my 30s.
No, I appreciated Led Zeppelin more when I was in my 20s than I did as a teenager. I was kind of into the new wave music and,
You listened to Rob Smith and The Cure, didn't
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I love The Cure.
The Cure.
Yep.
Boys don't cry.
Yeah, Boys Don't Cry. And, A Forest.
And a lot of songs that you can't actually say on the radio anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But it was some good albums. The Cure was a big part of actually wasn't really into The Cure probably in my 20s too. I was more into like what the hell was it? Tears for Fears and and Men at Work.
Big Country.
Men at Work, Big Country. Yeah. I like the Flock of Seagulls.
The Safety Dance.
Oh yeah, Men Without Hats. Yeah. Safety Dance. I love that song.
I love that song. That was a great song.
That's on my Spotify mix, brother.
I know.
Quit hating on my Safety Dance. You know what I'm saying? No, I know you like it too. It's some good music back in the 80s, but it was really it was kind of the era of music where they tried to push synthesizer instead of guitar. Or like there was a battle between what was going to be
the Moog.
Yeah, the Moog
Moog.
synths, or yeah, was it going to be a lead guitar or was it going to be a synthesizer? You know, what was going to be the premier rock music or instrument? And so they kind of had it out in the 80s, and it was decent and all, but yeah, the guitar one, of course, because that's just a sexy
classic.
It's always timeless. The guitar sound is always timeless. Whereas synths, it gets played out. I mean, I got a Korg M1 sitting next to me, and that's from the 80s. But it's, I can use it as a MIDI controller with my Pro Tools, and it can sound like anything.
Which makes it viable even today.
Yeah, exactly. I still use it as my MIDI controller, and it's great. I mean, it'll work by itself, but now the sounds are real dated. Whereas back when it was new, it was like, whoa, it sounds like a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
And now it's like, that doesn't sound anything like a thunderstorm. It's the way technology goes. All right, the next story, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read you is called Jim Reaches Out. I'm not sure who Jim is, but he's reaching out. About a couple of weeks ago, a couple of weeks after I was born, my dad's best friend Jim died. They were really close, and one of the last things he wanted was to hold little me before he passed. His wish was fulfilled, and sometime after that, he was gone. Fast forward 7 years, and I'm now a happy 7-year-old with a 5-year-old brother and recently born sister. One day, the phone rings, and with my mom out and my dad in the washroom, I thought it was going to be ignored as we kids were still too young to answer the phone. No call display. We didn't know if there would be a stranger. But my brother broke the rules and answered, "Hello?" At this point, my dad is out of the washroom and asking my brother to hand him the phone. He ignores him and keeps listening to whoever is speaking. Before my dad could ask a second time, my brother hangs up, looks at him and says, "Jim says hi and he misses you." Then goes back to playing. The look of shock my dad had is what I remember most about this. And that's the whole story. So that is pretty cool, though.
Yeah, definitely that.
That was nice of Jim to call. I know there's a lot of people I would love to call me and, catch up, but
Sure.
hasn't happened yet. Next one is called Pen Pals. I was once featured in a St. Jude Survivor newsletter when I was about 5 years old in the early 90s. The newsletter went out across the country and apparently into Canada. There was this guy named Mitchell that called my family out of the blue because he had read my cancer survival story. He lived somewhere in Canada and claimed to be this big-time Christian and wanted to talk to me, God in prayer. I don't know what that means, but okay. My mom let him talk to me for whatever reason, and the guy actually just wanted to talk to me about Elf. This Canadian dude named Mitchell was obsessed with Elf. ALF. I assume that's that puppet show from the 90s. Yeah. And somehow got a hold of our mailing address and sent me tons of Elf merchandise, coloring books, pencils, Elf everything. For some reason, my parents let him talk to me whenever he would call because they bought into his God stuff and liked how he sent me Elf crap. This went on and off for about a year until he asked me if I ever heard of John Wayne Gacy.
Oh.
He told me who he was and that he had escaped him when Gacy tried kidnapping him when he was a kid. He told me I should tell my parents they shouldn't trust strangers because you never know who you could really be talking to. I remember he didn't sound menacing when he said it, just matter of fact. Of course, my parents freaked when I told them that, and they changed numbers and called the police. They never really did anything since the guy did live in Canada and by all accounts and hadn't really threatened me. Also, keep in mind, Mitchell somehow had our mailing address and knew exactly where we lived. We had plans on moving soon anyway, though.
That would be too.
Fast forward 10 years to about 2001. We live in a new house, a new state, everything unlisted. I'm now 15. What do we get in the mail? Yes, you guessed it. An Elf coloring book.
Wow.
That is twisted. There's all kinds of creepy people out there, and I realize that's probably not really paranormal, but
it just causes paranoia.
Yeah, paranoia. Wow. This isn't the paranoia portal, though.
Sometimes it is.
Yeah, well, yeah.
the hell's that noise?
I'm never know what's gonna happen next, but I don't think I quite have paranoia yet. But this one's Johnny Says Goodbye. Hard to say what qualifies as creepy. It could maybe be seen as heartwarming. I don't know. My mother swears this is a true story, and frankly, I don't see why she would lie about it. My mom had 3 kids. There's me, the youngest, and my older brother. But before either of us were born, there was Jonathan. He was a sweet little blonde boy, big blue eyes, known for accidentally repeating dad's swears in church. Wholesome kid, great in school, active outside. When he was almost 6, he was riding his bike and fell and hit his head on a rock. He got up and said he felt fine. My mom found him the next morning in his bed. When she tried to wake him up to get to the kindergarten, one pupil dilated, the other not. She got him airlifted to the nearest hospital. During this time, Jonathan's best friend Nick was sitting at the breakfast table eating cereal. Nick suddenly gets up from the table and goes to the door. When his mom asks him what's up, Nick says that Johnny was calling for him. You see, Nick and Johnny lived on separate blocks, but they weren't allowed to cross the street without a parent yet because they were still fairly young. But they lived close enough to call to one another to come out to talk at their respective street corners. So Nick goes out to the street corner while his mother receives a call from mine that Johnny was just declared dead in the hospital. Idle brain aneurysm that was triggered by the fall. Nick's mom can hardly handle this news and is now wondering where her son went. But Nick comes back a few minutes later and says he heard Johnny calling out to him, but he wasn't at the street corner. When he looked, he sits down and continued eating his cereal. When his mom asks Nick what was Johnny saying, Nick says that he had come to say goodbye. My mom told me this story when I was young, but it stuck with me. I wish I could have met him, but truthfully, I wouldn't be here to type this story to all you random strangers if he hadn't died. My mother only wanted 2 kids. I'm thankful for the chance I was given to live and feel like he died for me sometimes. I'm not religious, but I do feel spiritual when I think of Johnny. Oh, that's a sad story. Being a parent, I just couldn't imagine what it would be like to lose a child. And there's an echo. There's an echo.
Oh, yep, there it is.
Yep.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's an amazing story, though.
You need to have a talk with your producer.
I'm going to sage my producer right out of work after the show.
We're going to break out the good stuff. Get the white sage.
Yeah, no kidding. I got 2 different kinds downstairs, so I don't know. I mean, this stuff doesn't really bother me, truth be told, but it is kind of frustrating when you're trying to do a show. Mm-hmm. It's not really my idea of production value, but I can't account for it. It's just strange. I mean, for God's sakes, there's a freaking echo. You know, it's about a 390 millisecond delay echo. And it's, I don't know, it's got a quick decay, whatever it is. I don't have any setting that could do this. The effects are bypassed on the board. It should just be a dry signal. So there isn't even reverb on my voice when I do the show. So I don't know. I'm at a loss, but do you want to read one?
Sure.
The echo, Don, the echo cleaner.
Okay, let's try this. That's demon cleaner, by the way.
Yeah, not yet.
This one. Okay, let's do this. I'm seriously freaked out. This isn't a joke. I'm not trying to be funny or anything. We just moved into this house about a month ago. I had a paranormal experience in the past, but nothing like this. I have no idea what to do. About a week ago, my boyfriend said that something had poked him on the back. I didn't think much of it, but the craziest thing happened to me tonight. I'm too scared to turn off the lights or go to sleep. I don't want to go into too much detail, but right after... Yeah, I love it when they do that to me.
What'd they do?
Right after we enjoyed ourselves, I felt something poke me twice in the butt cheek.
Oh.
I thought it was my boyfriend, and I laughed. He asked me what was funny. But I said that it was nothing, and I ignored it. Then it happened again, 2 pokes, with 1 finger. It's skin-to-skin contact. I thought it was weird, so I asked my boyfriend what he wanted, and he said he didn't do it. I'm so freaked out, and now I feel like... I'm not even going to finish that.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the family version of that story.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And
Wow.
that's all that was appropriate to read.
I can't believe I came across one like that.
Wow. What exactly site are you on, Don?
I'm on my yourghostsstories.com. My goodness.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Wow. Phew. That was steamy.
Don's pulse is racing.
It's the pitter patter of my own little heart.
Well,
Great goodness.
All right, I'll try to read the cat lady then.
All right.
So, I think the echo's actually getting better. It's back down to a slapback, or is it the same?
No, I think it's receding again.
Yeah.
Kind of like my hairline.
Not your beard, though.
My beard's nice and full and strong.
This one's called The Cat Lady, ladies and gentlemen. Weird one that happened to my sister a couple of years ago. Background info, she and her now husband are house sitting for my brother-in-law's uncle. Wow, I gotta read that again. She and her now husband are house sitting for my brother-in-law's uncle. The uncle is old and starting to lose it. He rents out a basement suite, and a nice lady lives downstairs. She cleans the house when she is there, but he wanted my brother-in-law to come check on things and to feed his old cat once in a while. Okay, so now first day they go to house sit. They get in but can't find the cat to make sure it's okay. My sister has cats and they know they like to hide when they are dying, so they're all worried and are looking everywhere for this cat. In all the rooms, under the beds and everything. Even check with the lady downstairs and she hasn't seen it. So my sister opens up the closet and in the spare bedroom and is looking around for stuff on the floor, moves a couple of things and sees a set of feet on the ground in the closet with clothes blocking anything above the feet. The feet have nicely painted toenails and look human. But she assumes it is a doll or something. They look in a few more places, and all of a sudden the cat is in the middle of the living room just hanging out. So they lock the deadbolt and leave. Now that echo's almost gone. Sister and her boyfriend go out for dinner and a movie, and she can't stop thinking about the feet and how real they looked. My sister had started dating her boyfriend fairly recently and didn't want to seem crazy, so she didn't bring it up. But a few hours into the night, she decided she needed to tell him. He decides that it's probably a doll, but he offers to go back and check anyway. And then when they arrive, my sister will only stay on the patio because she is scared, which makes him realize that this must be something serious. They go to get in the door, but the deadbolt is now unlocked, and the handle is locked. Now he thinks there must be someone in there. At the door, there is a fireplace, so once he is in there, he grabs the sharp poker stick from the fireplace tools and starts to sneak towards the closet. He opens up the closet and sees the same set of feet with painted toenails on the floor. He pokes it lightly with the fire stick, and the toes scrunch up.
Nice.
He proceeds to smack the foot as hard as he can with the sharp stick and yells, "Get out of there." Out comes a lady in her mid-30s holding the cat, and a can of Coke. Turns out she was friends with the basement tenant where when she became homeless, the friend lets her stay up with her until she found out she was addicted to crack. Started leaving drugs around the house and had shady people coming into the house, so she kicked her out. Somehow she got a key to the upstairs and has been staying there for a while, staying there while the uncle was gone. Police were called and she was arrested. Wow. Excuse me. Craziness.
Oh, man.
Hey, there's no echo at all. We're back to dry. Thank God. All right. A Ted Bundy encounter.
Oh.
This is just a creepy story. These are mostly creepy stories. They're supposed to be personal ghost stories. I guess it's and creepy strangers' tales.
Oh.
So we're into the creepy strangers.
Well, Ted Bundy was a creepy stranger.
Yeah, he was all kinds of creepy, but let's read what it has to say about Ted. It was near Halloween
Toasting
time.
Ted.
Huh?
Toasting Ted.
Toasting Ted.
Sorry.
All right. It was near Halloween time when my friends and I were telling ghost stories. My friend said she was going to tell a story about her parents' first date. She said she didn't like telling the story since it was actually true, but we prodded her on. Excuse me. Now, I think I might have read this one before too, but anyway. To cut to the chase, the parents had spent a nice, if awkward, first date, and around the time they would have said their good night, the man in the situation, my friend's dad, suggested that they go for a midnight hike up the Provo Canyon. He apparently knew the place since he had done a fair amount of rock climbing in the area, so the two drove up to the mouth of the canyon, got out of their cars, and started hiking under just the light of the stars since it was a new moon. And I believe they find a body, and then they leave, and they found out that he was actually there watching them. At some point, my friend's dad starts getting a bad feeling. Since the pathway ahead, which would pass under some trees, would be dark, and because it was getting to be quite late, he ignores the feeling and presses on. In later retellings of the story, my friend's mom would say that she had felt the same feeling and what was probably the same time, though she didn't know the trail like he did. A minute later, the feeling came back to my friend's dad. He ignored it again and started walking a bit of the way into the trees when his foot hit something soft in the middle of the path. Under the trees, it was too dark to see just what the soft thing was, and the feeling came back stronger than ever. Instead of finding out what his foot had bumped into, he and my friend's mom both agreed to hightail it out of there. Excuse me. Years later, after being married for some time, they were watching an interview with the serial killer Ted Bundy. In response to a question asking him to describe the time that he felt the closest to being caught, he explained about the night he had lured a girl into Provo Canyon. He had just killed her when he heard some people coming up the trail. He explained how he hid in the trees just in time, only to watch some guy walk right into the body and for some reason just turn around and walk away.
Jeez.
Yeah, wow. If only they had been just moments sooner, right?
Wow.
Horrible.
Wow.
A call from the front desk. Before my family and I moved to another state, my father went and visited the area to check on the progress of our new house, which was being built. My father was there for a few days and was staying at some crappy Motel 6 in the shady area of town. His room was the last room on the end of the hallway on the top floor. In the middle of the night, on the last night he was in town, he was woken by the phone ringing in his room. He groggily answers, and it was the front desk, and they say something along the lines of, "Sorry to wake you, but we've been receiving a couple of reports about rooms being broken into and some stuff being stolen. We're calling to make sure you lock your door and you are safe." My father replies that he is fine and hangs up. He decides to go double check that he did lock the door and sits up in bed. He notices that the door to his room is ajar. Being spooked, he cautiously checks the room and finds that nothing is missing and no one else is in the room. He creeps to the door and peeks out. Sitting right outside of the room on the windowsill of the hallway window is his shaving kit. Creeped out of his mind, he quickly grabs it and locks the door. After he calms down a bit, he calls the front desk and says, "Hey, you just called me about the break-ins around the hotel, and I just wanted to report that my room was broken into when I was sleeping. Nothing stolen. I am fine. Figured you'd like to know." The front desk replies, "You must be mistaken. We never called your room, and we haven't received any reports of break-ins." Very creepy. A little boy sees the light. My wife's mother passed away in 2003 from cancer. After the funeral, family and friends gathered at her house for a final celebration of her life. The gathering went late into the evening. My son, 3 at the time, needed to go to bed at that point. I walked with him up the stairs to where he would sleep. The room that my mother-in-law passed away in was upstairs and straight down the hallway as you reach the top of the landing. My son and I walked upstairs together with me holding his hand, and as we nearly reached the top of the stairs, my son stopped and wouldn't move. At that point, which he could just see down the hallway, he was staring straight down the hall. I looked at him and then down the hall to an open doorway to a completely darkened bedroom. He just stared and would not move any further. I asked him, "Buddy, are you okay?" His response was, "Daddy, the light. The light scares me." I looked again down the hallway where he was staring into darkness. "Buddy, you see a light?" "Yes, Daddy, it scares me." I promptly picked him up and went back downstairs. To this day, the hairs still stand up on the back of my neck when I think of it. Indeed.
Crazy.
Right. But kids see so much more, you know.
Yeah,
Hey, there's an
that's
echo.
Hey, don't. Oh gosh.
What?
No, I don't hear it. I
You
don't hear it.
don't?
Nope. I don't hear it.
It's just a quick little echo.
Nope.
No?
No echo.
No, it's better again.
Yep.
Wow.
It was because I was about to mention that Regula has joined us in the chat room today.
Well, welcome, Regula. I'm
nice
glad you're
to
here.
see ya.
Missed you, girl. Glad you're here. Now the party can start. You know what I'm saying?
Well, she asked if there was any fat guys dancing in here. I said no. no, I haven't been dancing.
Stay tuned, Regula. We can whip up a fat dancing guy for you.
We can cut some rug up in here. Actually, they'll just roll me up in it and throw me in the dumpster. We don't know what happened.
Yeah, well, you know, it's all for the entertainment value of the show, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing we won't attempt.
Yeah, there is.
Let me rephrase that. There's nothing Don won't attempt.
Oh, yeah, there is.
It's a family show, though.
The first thing that comes to mind is sword swallowing, but you know, whatever.
Well, that's something I'm not going to touch at all. It's just one of those loaded statements that I'm just going to leave it lay there.
Oh, good God. And you get on me about what you think I think you say.
Yeah. Well, you know, how often am I wrong, though?
Well, enough.
All right.
Oh, goodness.
Tanya is the next story. When I was a child, we would frequently get calls for a woman named Tanya. Didn't seem like a big deal. She had the same last name as us, although it's quite a common one around here. When we moved across the city, the phone book stopped being the go-to for finding someone's number. The calls for Tanya gradually stopped. Those days seemed to have ended when we carried on, forgetting about the mysterious Tanya. It was about 4 years ago that she popped up in our lives again. I was driving home from work one afternoon and was greeted by a pretty grisly car wreck at the turn to our house. 2 cars had collided, and one had wrapped itself around a signage pole that had house numbers and directions on it. One of which was my house number. Several days later, we get a call from the police. They ask if Tanya was at this residence. Her car was found wrapped around a pole down the street from my house, and she was nowhere to be found at the accident site. Haven't heard anything about her since.
Wow.
Wow, right. Ooh, this one's called Demons on the Hunt. This should be juicy. Let's see what this is all about. When I was younger, my family was extremely poor and lived in a very old mobile home on some land my grandpa owned. This piece of land was in a very small town out in the middle of nowhere, Texas, and was covered in woods. The town itself was your typical small country town where football was king and there was nothing to do but get drunk or high on the weekend. It was also the type of town, along with it being in the early 90s, where one didn't typically have to worry too much about locking their doors or setting an alarm. Now, our trailer was a 2-bedroom, and my parents, always putting us kids ahead of themselves, slept in the living room on a fold-out couch. My room was directly connected to it, and my sister's room was down the hallway just past the kitchen and bathroom at the other end of the trailer. One night everyone had gone to bed. My dad was woken up by the feeling that there was someone in the room. He looks around a bit and sees a large male figure sitting in the easy chair just feet from the bed. My dad quickly flipped on the light switch next to his bed and saw it was a neighbor from down the road named Carter. Carter was known to be a frequent drug user and was often in trouble with the law because of this. My dad asked him what the hell he was doing there and told him to get out, and he responded, "I can't get out. The demons are chasing me, and your house is the only safe one." My dad, who is a fairly large and terrifying person, responded that if he didn't get out, and get out quickly, that the house would be a lot less safe for him. "If I leave, they'll get me. They've been chasing me all night. If they catch me, I'm dead." My dad's response was that there was no demons, but that if he didn't get the hell out of the house, he'd be dead. From what I've been told since I was asleep at this part, my mom also hurled a few threats, and while she may not be big, she was equally as terrifying. I believe it was her anger that finally scared him off. My dad got up and locked the door and watched through the blinds as Carter decided, since he couldn't outrun the demons, he'd steal our old beater, Suburban, that my dad always left the keys in. He drove around for about an hour. We called the police, and it took them about that long to get out to us since the closest police station was 20 or 30 minutes away. He finally brought it back and was arrested and taken to jail. He was deemed crazy and ended up locked in a mental institution. The scarier part is that for years after we'd get phone calls where all we'd hear is music that would have lyrics like, "I'm going to effing kill you." These calls lasted for years and followed us from house to house, even though we always had different numbers and would even be in different states. We always thought it was him sending us a message. The calls stopped when I was about 12. I later found out that it was around that time when Carter thought the best thing he could do for himself was soak himself in gasoline and set himself on fire.
God.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's got to be a horrible deal.
There's no worse way to go other than self-emulation. Oh, God.
Immolation?
Immolation.
Yeah, absolutely. That's got to be a horrible, painful death.
Every time I hear that, it just creeps me out.
Yeah, I know. I just couldn't imagine the agonizing. Ugh. Well, anyway, that's what he thought was the best way out. I guess it took him out. This one, I can't read the title, but it's an evil little poop, but it's not poop.
It's not. It's
My dad used to work in a juvenile detention center in the Miami area in the early 70s. He said there was one inmate that reminded him a lot of young Hannibal Lecter. He wasn't strong, but he was smart and very persuasive. One day he started a riot in his block of cells, just by talking the other inmates into it. My dad and another guard were sent to check it out and try to calm things down. Everybody in the block was going crazy, banging on the bars, howling and yelling at each other. Everybody except young Hannibal Lecter. He was standing still in the middle of his cell with his arms folded, smiling and muttering the same phrase over and over quietly. My dad tried to focus on what he was saying, and after a couple of seconds he understood. The inmate was reciting my dad's home phone number. Edit, I don't know how he got it. Maybe he bribed another guard into getting it for him, or he saw it written in some form on his way between rooms or something. The guy never called my dad. In fact, he never really got any strange phone calls ever. But the level of determination that inmate must have had, all just to freak my dad out, was simply impressive. Wow. That is creepy.
Yeah. That would be bad news.
That would be, yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing you don't want is some sociopathic, sociopathic homicidal person having your phone number or address and thinking that there's some reason they're fixated on you.
Yeah, that'd be not good.
That would be not good. This is called The Object of a Ghost's Affections. This happened about 2 years ago to me, but it was pretty unsettling. I'll start out by saying I used to have a shop in an over 100-year-old building that was split up into 3 different storefronts. I had one shop, my best friend had another, and then the third was rented to another girl. One day I'm at the shop when the phone rings. A man is on the other line asking me for something or other and is being really spacey. I'm trying to talk to him, but there are long pauses before his answers, and he just being a little odd. Finally, I asked him something, and there was a long pause on the other end, long enough to make me ask, "Hello?" because I think he has hung up on me. Instead, he replies with, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just having a hard time focusing on our conversations because there is a spirit standing next to you that is yelling into the phone trying to get my attention." At this point, I'm intrigued and decide to play along, so I say, "Oh, really? What's he saying?" The psychic goes on to make a few broad comments about me and the space I'm in, all of which could have easily found out if he had looked on their website, so I'm not impressed, and says the man has been in the building since the early 1900s and is infatuated with me, has been following me for years, and frequently tags along with me to my house, my friends' houses, and even places like the grocery store. Okay, that's interesting, but then it gets more so. He tells me the man is very jealous of the guy that I'm dating and doesn't like him because we are so close. He then goes on to say that the spirit hurt the guy I am seeing when he was doing renovations on the building, which was 100% accurate. I put that story below. And he didn't like that he was in his personal space changing it. So that was weird, but his next comment really bothered me. The psychic says, and he is very glad you broke up with that army dude. He really hated him. Now, this was weird to me because I had dated that guy about 3 years prior before and had been restationed and had been restationed right after we broke up and had never set foot in the building, nor had I seen him since we broke up. At the time of the phone call, I had only my shop in the building for about 6 months, so I couldn't figure out how this spirit would know about him. The guy told me some other stuff, most of which was pretty basic, and then I finally got him off the phone because he started getting weird, and I just wasn't interested anymore. The whole conversation lasted about 15 minutes, and I was thoroughly creeped out by his couple of comments, and I couldn't figure out how he knew so specifically the last two people I had dated. I should add that I don't have any personal social media. Someone can search for me, so there wouldn't have been any couples pictures of me up with this person or anyone else I dated. Then it dawned on me. I had worked for about 6 months for a friend at her shop in the same building for some extra cash after I moved back to the city, which was about 4 years prior and in the time that I had dated / broken up with the army guy, which would also explain why the psychic said the spirit had been following me for years. I am no longer have the shop in the building, but still go there every now and then to see my friend. We both agree the building has some bad vibes, especially at night, and there's a couple more weird things that happened to me while I had the shop there. Very interesting. Huh.
Jealous ghosts. Oh. Uh-oh.
That's when the echo comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, mixing board from hell, or whatever is going on. I don't know. Very cool, though. You're hearing it here first, ladies and gentlemen, on the Paranormal Portal, the home of all things paranormal, including the show. Not just in topic, but in actual practice. We deal with the paranormal regularly. So let's read the next one. Or did you have one you wanted to read, Don?
Oh, I can read one. Sure.
See if you can work out that echo
Yeah,
while
he
you're
just
at it.
wants me to scare it away.
It seems to work. It might be your beard.
It's the beard.
Your beard scares the echo.
All right, let's see here. It says, "Am I crazy, or is this normal / possible?" When I was 7, my family moved to a house in the southwestern part of Missouri. It was an old farmhouse. A wooded area behind the house was very eerie and overgrown. Being a child from the city, it naturally scared me. It was midsummer when I suddenly was okay with the wooded area and began to play in the trees. I found a stream. We're talking about a small, sleepy town that was angry the state made us put a stoplight at the highway crossing. So the wooded area was huge. Okay. And decided to go for a swim. When I jumped in, I didn't realize how deep it was and nearly drowned. I saw a Native American literally appear in the water just as I was starting to have shimmy visions and pull me out of the water. I wonder what shimmy visions are. Okay, shimmy visions and pulled me out of the water. The man chastised me for not knowing how to swim, being alone in the land away from the family at so young an age that I should have learnt before I jumped in to an unknown river again. I thought this strange for several reasons, the main being that I was drowning and I knew no one was there, and this strange man had handmade pants and moccasins lift me out of the water. Secondly, it was a stream, not a river, and I even knew that. I went home right away and my mom got mad at me for being wet. When I told her that the man in the woods saved me from drowning, she told me it was impossible as Native Americans didn't dress like that and there were none living in the woods behind us. I asked her if maybe it could have been an angel that saved me, and she abruptly shouted, "Ghosts are not real, angels do not look like humans, and stop making up stories." Now that's the stuff I always talk about right there. Ugh. Naturally, I never spoke of that day again, and I couldn't help but feel very safe, and I listened to him and convinced my mother to let me take swimming classes. After that event, I also started having really weird dreams whenever I had a problem facing me or a decision ahead of me. I also started to crave being outside alone in nature. I was never a big nature fan before this. I was a city girl after all. I also started having sleep paralysis. This is where you wake up mentally and be able to see, but you can't move because your body's still asleep. People report hallucinations and feeling very frightened. I never really hallucinated that I thought. I never really hallucinated that I thought of it as, but when this would happen, I often would see the same man that saved my life that day. I was drowning. He would sometimes just watch me, or we'd be looking out the window, or some other seemingly normal thing. When I was 14, it was the winter, and seeing him had become the new normal, but not being able to talk to him ever was starting to get frustrating. Although I was scared or in a bad situation or worried, I would talk to him like he was there and often felt calmness or peace come over me, almost like he was there listening to me. One night, on December 18th, I believe it was, I was woken up abruptly. I thought it was another experience of sleep paralysis, but I was literally feeling like someone was shaking me. When I opened my eyes, I was alone in the room, and then I heard his voice in my ear. It was so loud it shocked me, as he had not spoken to me since the day he had saved me in the stream, and often acted as though he couldn't see me when I saw him. He told me, "Get up right now, get your family up, get them out of the house. Do not let them tell you no. Anyone who stays will not see the sunrise.
Ooh.
Get everyone out."
Wow.
I felt true panic. This is nice with the echo, though.
it's dramatic.
Get everyone out. I felt true panic and fear, and I just jumped up, ran to my mom and dad's room, and started yelling, "We had to get out of the house right now." My sisters heard me shouting at my parents and woke up coming into the room. My middle sister was feeling really dizzy and like she was going to be sick, and while my mom was fully awake, my dad was really drowsy but didn't want to wake up. This is very unusual, as he's always been the first to get up for anything, which got my mom moving. She got my dad up, and we all left to take my sister out for fresh air. We went to the farm down the road, and the farmer was getting up to go milk cows when we pulled in. He let us in from the cold since we were all still in our pajamas. He was also the town farm vet, thus why he was up at 3 a.m. And after looking at my sister and my dad, said they looked almost as if they had mild carbon monoxide poisoning, and we should really go to the hospital. After going there, we found out that all of us had mild effects of it, but me. The fire marshal went to check out and found that our propane stove that heated the living room, and thus the house, was not venting outside, but rather inside. My room was the farthest from the living room, so I had almost no exposure by the time I woke up. My family, however, were not so lucky. My dad and sister were in the hospital for 2 days. My mom and my oldest sister and I went home to get the heating stove replaced and tried to act like me waking up was normal. Given my mom's hate for anything she couldn't prove with a science book, that's a great statement.
It is.
I would only tell her that I had a bad feeling every time when she asked me how I knew to wake them up. My mom finally broke down and told me that night that she didn't believe in ghosts because it was a decision she had made as a little girl. She grew up in an old farmhouse in Mayacawa, Illinois, and the feeling to the home was very oppressive. Their kids' bedrooms were in the partially finished attic. Her bed sat in an alcove, and the rooms were separated by shower curtains hung from the rafters. In this house, they would randomly find things moved. Pictures would literally fling off from the wall, not slide down or fall, but literally fly several inches from the wall and shatter the frames. They would hear people running around the house and would hear laughter and talking in German. Her family is not German, yet due to hearing all the voices, my mom, and I would later learn, all of her siblings, speak conversational German. Her father actually went crazy and became diagnosed as a schizophrenic in his house. His last words were "Heil Hitler." But before he went batty, as my mom put it, he was hardworking, God-fearing Republican farmer with no family or personal history of mental illness. My mom's grandfather lived in an apartment above the barn and blatantly refused to go into the main house. My mom's siblings all have some form of mental illness, schizophrenia, depression, attempted suicides, you name it. There is no history on either side of my family. On either. That's funny because my mom's siblings all have some form, yet there is no history on either side of the family. Okay, makes no sense. My grandmother did not seem affected, but after she died, we met the priest that she would go to almost weekly for blessings, and at one point, he attempted a failed exorcism of the farmhouse.
Ooh.
And this is why they moved so abruptly in my mom's later teen years. After she told me this, I finally told her it was the same guy that saved me from drowning that woke me up and told me to get everyone out of the house. My mom asked if I had seen him between then and now, and I told her about the sleep paralysis. She told me not to ever trust what can't be explained, but to understand that if I ever see a little girl running in the opposite direction, as she was, she shared her childhood home and ruined her family. She told me to never trust what can't be explained, but to understand that if I ever see a little girl running the opposite direction as she was, what shared her childhood home and ruined her family. That makes no sense. But ghosts aren't real, and demons that want to kill you are, though. Flash forward to 2011. I'm 21, living with my middle sister who just got out of the Army after a very rough deployment. When we started having issues in the apartment, our dog refused to go to my sister's room. The lights would randomly turn on and off. The sink would start running while we were in the living room watching TV. My sister kind of suffered from sleep issues, so we started sleeping in the living room, and I just started working an overnight job. That apartment made us mean to each other, and we didn't feel happy ever in there. One day we were watching Family Guy. My gosh, this is a long one. I didn't realize it was so long.
That's okay.
There's still like 5 paragraphs, and some of them are quite wordy.
You're doing great.
One day we were watching Family Guy. I believe it was the week before Thanksgiving 2011 when my sister asked why there was someone in her room. She went into the room and I heard her messing with the closet door. She came back into the living room and said that damn old man needs to go already. This is our apartment and he needs to just leave us alone. She told me that she sees him every now and then, an elderly man moving around her closet or going down the hall. I was thinking the giggles from the little girl in our living room and kitchen were the only issues we were having. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
On Thanksgiving, our parents came to eat dinner with us, and my mom told me how their lives seemed to get luckier after I moved out. I thought it was odd, but not weird. On December 1st, 2011, my sister attempted suicide. She said she felt like she was suffocating and that her depression would never let up, and that she didn't want to live in a world with no happiness anymore. We switched rooms after that, and not a week later, I was placed into a psychiatric ward for a 72-hour hold after having an abrupt mental breakdown at work. I shrugged my sister's depression off as delayed PTSD reaction and mental breakdown to a large amount of stress I was under. But my coworker, who was Wiccan, asked to come to the apartment and see if she could help with the cleansing ritual. I reluctantly agreed after my sister said yes. I was worried they would make my friend, whom I still only see on very rare occasions and never speak to really, would be removed too. I was worried that my...
The spirit.
Oh, right.
He's worried about losing that spirit. Yeah.
When my coworker got there, she knew of where the problem spots were, or ages of the apparitions, or even that having issues in the house. She only knew my sister attempted suicide and I was under stress, and she just wanted to make things lighter for us in that respect. She was only there about 15 minutes when she asked us if we knew our apartment was occupied by more than just us. She was drawn to the corner of the living room where we caught sight of a little girl that giggled and ran all over the place. Not visibly. We had only seen her out late at night. And the closet in which was now my room, where the shadow man would sometimes be. We started to think maybe that there was something more than our overreactive imaginations. She decided to do the ritual, saying that she can call a friend who is better suited instead. We chose to move instead. The most vivid and real event I had was June 10 of 2012. I was driving my sister and I to New Orleans as a celebratory trip after I was accepted into the police academy when I fell asleep at the wheel. I veered off the highway into a stand of trees by the Mississippi and Louisiana border. My sister was asleep in the passenger seat, buckled in, when we hit the first tree. We hit 3 in total.
Ooh.
My sister's seatbelt snapped back against her but kept her in the seat, and her airbag inflated like it was supposed to. In fact, her airbag kept inflating enough to protect her from the second tree and the third tree before the car finally stopped. That is where the safety features ended. I was going approximately 75 miles an hour. I had it on cruise control, and my airbag failed completely and never went off. It was either the first or the second tree where my seatbelt broke at the buckle.
Ooh. That can't be good.
As completely never went off. Oh. The second tree where my seatbelt broke and the buckle as well. I should have died, but I blacked out. I saw a super bright light, probably black powder igniting for my sister's airbag, and that I felt something grabbing me, holding me to the seat while we hit the trees. I had a broken ankle, torn rotary cuff, sprained knee, and several concussions to the point that my sister thought I was dead when the smoke cleared and she got her wits about her. Her door was jammed shut, so she kicked mine open to get out of the car and climbed over me. She swears I did not have a pulse and was slumped over the steering wheel. She began to climb the embankment to flag down a passing car for help as our phones and tablets were destroyed in the wreck. I was still completely unconscious, but my sister, the trucker, and the off-duty officer that came to my sister's aid said that there was a man who pulled me from the wreck. He said that he found a pulse and wanted to get me to the road and asked for their help. They got me up the embankment, but when they went to ask his name, he wouldn't tell them and went back into the woods. The cop thought he was out there hunting and saw the wreck. When I woke up in the hospital, I had bruises on me that were in a V shape around my torso. The doctor said it looked like someone held me in place, but maybe it was from how the seatbelt failed, but he could have no logical explanation for why I was alive.
Wow.
The ambulance crew had no way of explaining it. The investigators from the fire department couldn't explain it. Even after they put out the fire, my airbag still had not deployed. Wow. I got asked by so many people that week how I was still alive. I decided that I had a guardian spirit and have yet to find any other reason.
Wow.
Last time I heard my friend speak to me was on Veterans Day, November 11th, 2016. I was at work in a call center, and in between calls got excited to see my dad and sister in 4 hours when I got off, when I heard his voice in my mind tell me to go home. I was confused as to why. It was only 3 hours, so I brushed it off, but the nagging feeling that I needed to take time off and go home early would not leave me. About an hour or so before the end of my shift, I saw my trainer, who I hadn't seen since I got out of training 9 months before, walk up to my desk. He motioned for me to go into the auxiliary code, but I was on a call and that was going to take a while. Something seemed wrong with the look on his face, so I convinced the customer to let me place them on hold. I felt the feeling of comfort I always feel wash over me when I'm in a scary or sad situation. My trainer just released the member back into the queue. I asked him why while he was shutting down my computer. He told me to go out of the secure area and talk to my old TL, who now worked with my sister in another department. So I did so. My father had had a major heart attack and my family was coming to get me. For most of this would have been devastating, but my dad's health was so bad that a heart attack was pretty normal, so I was surprised they were coming to get me for something so small. We knew most of the paramedics in the larger city, we now lived in by first name at this point, with how often he is in and out of the hospital. Then the trainer was beside me again, and I was told that my father was dead before the paramedics had gotten to the house. I should have listened when I was told to go home. I could have been there to do CPR, or at the very least say goodbye to him. Even if it's schizophrenia developing, which I highly doubt, my friend has never steered me wrong in my life, and I should have known better than to ignore him. I don't know if these are just a litany of coincidences, or maybe if I acquired a guardian spirit as a small child drowning in a stream. Sometimes I think I'm crazy, but I researched the mental illness of my family, and aside from the people that lived in the main house, no offspring had any signs of it, and there was no prior family history either. Also, my mother had no signs of anything other than a staunch belief that if a science book can't explain it, then it never happened. So I can't explain it or any of these instances. I still see my friend when I have sleep paralysis nearly every night, and at times still feel some sense guiding me through life. But I'm wondering if maybe someone with some better knowledge than a Google search can shed some light on it. Wow, that was huge, and that was just incredible.
That was huge. Well, it's 2 hours, brother.
Wow, is it? Wow.
9 o'clock.
Wow, okay.
Time flies.
It does. Wow.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in and being a part of the portal and part of our live stream, even with all the problems and mysterious sound artifacts. We are thrilled to be here and be a part of your night and your life. So, thank you for making us part of yours. So, we will be back, of course, on Friday and Saturday night. Remember, Deb Varner joins us on Saturday's show, so don't miss it. Love y'all. Don, anything in closing?
Regular Girl, here's your favorite song by Mr. Brent. Emotional Buffet. Thanks for joining us tonight. Glad you guys stuck with us after we had that little issue with the dead stream. We need to go and take care of shrapnel. So we'll do that in a bit. But thank you, everybody. It was awesome.
All right, we love y'all. Thanks again. Take care. Like and subscribe, share, spread the word, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Go ahead.
Yeah.